Hello everyone, my name is Kleinicus and welcome back to my Let's Play of City Skylines. In the last episode, you probably realized that our scenario was lost as the entire island was flooded from a tsunami. I went back to this save file a couple of times after recording that, trying to rebuild around a couple of things, and unfortunately no matter what I did, it still seemed that the tsunami came along and it wiped out the entire island, virtually causing the scenario to be lost each and every time. I looked into it a little bit more, and apparently the tsunamis have a value from 0 to 10, which sort of dictates the strength of it, essentially, the height of the water and so forth. And that's predetermined at each interval throughout the scenario, at random from the beginning, and then predetermined each time thereafter. And so because of that, every time I went back, the same strength tsunami kept hitting over and over again, and unfortunately we just didn't have the resources available to do that, to stop the tsunami. So therefore I've gone back and made the decision that perhaps it's best we try the original scenario we were doing, or an easier scenario. And looking into it, the best one for us, at least under this DLC, would be Tornado Country, which is where we're getting just over 250,000 population, 20,000 full lifespans, more than $1 million bucks, and of course losing if there's less than -30. It's a bit easier of a scenario, and while I'm not one to shy away from a challenge, I certainly do see the value in providing quality content to you all, so instead of watching me fail over and over again and basically watching the exact same thing each time with a new city being built, we'll try a slightly easier scenario so that way we can see a bit more of the game and you can experience it for what it is as the DLC. Now, this will be the third time in which we're starting afresh, so I've already gone in and built us up a small starting city, basically to get us to the point where we have unlocked the disaster management items. So the radio mast towers, bunkers, shelters, evacuation routes, and so forth. That way you're not watching me build the city from scratch, as you already have twice, because I'm sure it's getting pretty annoying just simply watching me build the exact same square roads and the same initial infrastructure. I'll cut back into the video in half a second when it's loaded, but I'll take you for a quick tour and then we'll get started. Be right back. Okay, welcome back everyone. So this is our city thus far, which we've called Tornadoville 2.0 as a bit of an homage to our first time building Tornadoville. So as you can see here, we essentially have a one-way or a one access point into the main city off of the highway going through. We hit a roundabout where up to the north there is all of our industrial stuff, which obviously as time goes forward we are going to want to convert this over to more green industry such as the forestry or farmland. So that'll hopefully be something that happens in the next couple of episodes as we start getting a little more population, a bit more infrastructure behind us. And we can see we've also got up here like all of our resources such as the power grid. We've got our water coming in here as well. So everything's kind of isolated over there. And then in addition to that, we've also got our main corridor into the city, which are both one-way roads going north and south here. And then we've got a various array of commercial, residential, all mixed in around here with some various city services. So let's get started. Now, as I had mentioned a moment ago, I had taken the city to the point where 2,600 citizens, where we would be unlocking all of the disaster mitigation services. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get building that, because that's one thing that's obviously very key to this particular DLC. So let's see what we've got. So right now we've got the disaster response unit, we've got a small emergency shelter, and we've got our short mast radio. And we've got a random build. Oh! Alright, I should explain this too while I see it. While I was building this, we were already hit by 2 tornadoes. So this is just the remnants of that one. The rest was already rebuilt back up as the game normally would. So there we go. So with that aside, we are now at effectively a fresh, clean start. So let's get started. We've got $345,000 and some pretty steady income. So that's not too bad for us right now. So the first thing we definitely want is our disaster response unit. This will be the building that will help us to recover anything that's damaged after a disaster hits. Now let's see, we want to put this on sort of a main thoroughfare that's sort of central. And if we're going to be building out, I think we'll be building out sort of south and to the west here. So maybe it makes sense to put it over here for now. Plus with all the pollution that it causes, wouldn't be a bad idea. So let's plop it right there. Let's also make sure it's connected into our electrical grid. And we'll also make sure it's got access to water. And it looks like it does, but I'll just pop it that way as well. There we go. Wonderful. So that's all going to start working, and as disaster happens, that will help us to recover our city, rather than having to watch me manually demolish and rebuild a couple of things. Oh, while I see it, just want to point it out here. Also made a couple of small custom parks here, just more for aesthetic purposes really. Hopefully we can build upon these pathways here that I've started to across our entire city as we start building outward, as obviously the more we have people biking or walking to places or taking public transit, the less of a burden there is on our roads from a traffic perspective, so that's always something good to consider. So there we are. So we've got at least our main hub set up for this now. So let's go back to our emergency services. So right now we've got a small emergency shelter which can hold 1,000 people. We've got 2,600 in our city, so let's actually build 3. So everyone is kind of equally dispersed around here, so let's put one near the front, put it there, one near the north side here, put it there, and one over here. There we go. So we should have enough access points for anyone in the event that an emergency happens. So this is going to start filling up. There we go. So what you can see is while we are currently not evacuating citizens, this will start filling up with water, power, and food, basically as it's stored resources that can be used whenever people are actually using the shelter. So this will go up slowly over time. So we've got that. We also need to build our communication network so that way people can actually know that something's going to happen. So like I've explained many times before, here is our radius of coverage. We'll put it right here. And so that's going to give us a nice radio cover. There we go. So everyone's within the radius there. And now whenever there is an emergency, we can call an evacuation through this network. People will go flying. People will go running into these shelters, and then they'll hopefully be safe from any disaster or calamity that strikes because of all of that. Alright, so city's doing pretty good. Our money is running a little, or our income is running a little low, so let's raise taxes to say 10%. Hopefully people don't mind. Here we go. Now what's going on here? Oh, people are just crashing there, but that's alright. Okay, so this was just... I noticed there was a random influx of traffic here all of a sudden. But it appears just normal volume, so that's okay. So everyone's doing fine here. So now let's see what we can do in terms of our services. So power is doing great. Water's doing great. Landfill, we're going to need one pretty soon. We're at 53% used. Education. Okay, let's build out some more for education. So elementary school, we need one more. Let's put it here, north side. You'll notice that I keep mentioning like north, south, east, and west. Honestly, I just mean that from the orientation that the map is facing when I say it. So, you know, right now north is heading up towards the water. Now north is heading up towards the various forest up there. It's definitely not accurate, but it's just easiest for me to say it that way, so we're consistent on directions. Sort of. If that makes sense. Alright, so we're good for elementary. High school, we're not doing too bad. And university, we've got a couple of people who would be ready. About 154. But really not enough. Oh, it's not even unlocked yet, to be honest, so we're good. Public library, we've got a couple of users, so that's good. Hey, what do you need over here? What's wrong? Not enough food. Well, are you not just going to get food? I'm not sure why food isn't being delivered there. Why is food not coming here? let's check my roads and make sure that directionally everything makes sense. So things are coming in over here. Oh, they're coming north, coming north, coming north. Well, there's no reason why a car can't make it over here. That's weird. I'm not sure why that's not filling up. That's weird. Hopefully that'll fix itself as the city starts balancing itself and the game takes over some of the automated aspects of delivering that. Okay, so we've got a massive need right now for residential. There we go. That's going to help connect that a little bit more. So with our residential need, well, let's take a look at building out this here. Pop a bunch of homes in here. And let's actually keep continuing our build out this way. There, we'll get ourselves a nice big chunk of land to work with here so we can get a lot of houses built. There we go. And we'll build across the road here as well. There we go. So we've got enough space there now to start building some of our homes. Let's just pop that all in there. We can definitely revisit the efficiency of these roads later on, but for now I think it's a good idea just to get as many people in the door as possible. Looks to be good. We also have a pretty good need, not a good need, a large need for, looks to be our commercial zone. So I think we're also going to extend our main artery here. Let's get down to our road. One-way street. Continue you up all the way. And all the way back down. There we go. So that way now we can build a few more roads off of here. And we can get some of our commercial services going. There we go. We'll pop it right there. Get you guys your water as well, because you'll need that. There we go. You've already got electricity. Nice. We'll let everyone build out there. And the one thing too that I'm really focusing on is making sure everyone stays happy. So as you can see, we've got a good mix of parks and plazas already in the city from my initial building, so people are generally happy in here. But not a bad idea to also build a few more over this way, just to make sure everyone over here is happy. Let's also build one in here as well. That's kind of near our new subdivision, just to keep everyone happy. Okay, so that's all going through. Looks to be good. Now, the one thing we want to look at, let's see here, because we've got a crap ton of pollution going on over here. Like, it's starting to really brown out a lot of the land. So let's see what we've got here. So noise, well, that's noise pollution, but that's pretty bad. But actual pollution. Okay, so it's all localized there with a bit of sewage water as well, which is expected. Because of how we have everything laid out, natural resources. Ugh, we don't have a whole lot, to be honest. Alright, I think we are going to try and build a little further. Let's build a little further north, so it's right next to the highway here. And we can hopefully get in more of our forestry from before. So let's pause this real quick. 3,700. Let's do it. Purchase that. There we go. And so all through here, it looks like we've got a good bit of forest here. We've also got what looks to be a nice bit of fertile land. So we can probably get a little bit on both sides here. So let's start building that out. So in terms of what we have for access, I'm thinking it's probably a good idea we get a whole separate highway exit here, just so that we were not burdening the main entrance here from the city. So let's start that actually. We'll get a nice clover leaf going. How much do we need to remove? Alright, so we're going to remove a bunch of roads that's already there. Sorry guys who are driving on the highway. Boom. It's great when you're driving on the highway and out of nowhere the road disappears. Here we go. So let's pop it right there. Line it up a bit better. Slope too steep. Oh no. Let's try and get it about... Oh, that's going to be difficult because we've got the slopes there. Alright, so we'll do that. This is going to be a bit of rejigging here. Alright, we're going to rejig the roads here just a little bit. So we've got, what, a one-way highway. Oh no, so we need the 3-lane highway. What are we doing with that? Just need to find where the heck that is on here. That's a 4-lane highway. We need the 3-lane highway. Oh, I guess that would be it here. There we go. Let's connect you there. Connect you there. There we go. So now we've got a little bit of a thoroughfare here. Or not a thoroughfare, rather. We've got our cloverleaf here that we can build further around on. And so you know what? Let's actually start with our farmland here. So we'll take this, build all the way down. We'll keep the same idea of having the 2 lanes, the one going each way, or the 2 roads, one going one direction, one going the other direction. Let's see here, let's upgrade that road, make it 1 way. Beautiful. This will mirror the city we already, or how our current portion of the city is already laid out. There we go. And so if I recall correctly, this is where the fertile land starts. Yes, it does. So let's get ourselves a roundabout going. Here we go. Large roundabout, small roundabout. There we go. Let's get a small roundabout going and start building into our farmland. Get rid of that. 1-lane road. There we go. Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. So there we go. And now let's start our farmland. So we'll kind of structure it like the city is, where it's in a grid network. That will ensure we've got adequate coverage. And also, oh, I'm building all these as one-way streets. Let's fix that up real quick. There we go. Let's just fix that real quick. Wonderful. So now we can get some farmland here. So I know last couple of episodes, or back with our island, I had asked you all what would the name of our first region be, or our first district be. Salty McNugget was the winner last time, and so I will of course ensure that that is the first one as well here, with Sweaty McNugget Farms. It's got a charm to it, I suppose, a bit of a name charm to it. Now, the benefit of having these districts, in addition to having the great names, is also that it will allow us to put some policies going, or get some policies going that are specific to this one area. So traffic flow, types of traffic, building types, all that good stuff. So Salty McNugget Farms. There we go. And so we can declare this region as our farmland. There we go, farming industry. And now all the industrial buildings that come here will be farm related. Or at least they should be, based on what I believe is the correct type of resource. Yeah, it's all around the fertile land, so we should be okay. Now, to be honest, it looks like we've got about 38 hectares of fertile land, so there won't be a whole lot more beyond this, I think. That means there's 38 hectares available to us. So we'll want to make sure that we are diversifying a bit. There we go. Let's make sure these are our actual farms. Just after they're built, we'll verify. They look like they are because of the color templates that are being used. But let's just make sure before I walk away on it. You guys farms? Let's see. Juice press. The real cereal. Juice press. Beefcakes. Yep, this all sounds like farmland. So we are... Oh yeah, it looks like farms, alright. So we're good. So now we just have to deal with getting the water out there. So let's get some water pipes here. we go. That's connected. That's connected. And we will just straight shoot you right there. Definitely, as we build up more, we can rejig some of these. But I think for now that's good. And electrically speaking, let's also get you out there as well. Alright. Let's pop it here. It'll circumvent the outside for now, just so it's not cutting into these two main grid areas. And that should provide enough electricity. Let's just make sure. Yeah, electricity we're fine. We're at 67 of 80, so we're good. And that also means that we can now start getting rid of some of these buildings. So let's get rid of our first row. And just to make sure it stays like that, we are going to get rid of it like that. There we go. So as you can see, this land is horribly polluted right now. The grays, greens, and the sort of that yellowish tinge, and the dead trees are all dead giveaways. But this will, of course, reclaim itself over time. Oops, let's just get you there. There we go. So you guys should be good out here. And the nice thing too is they have direct access to the highway, so that'll help for traffic flow. And you guys are all good out here. So how are our services doing? Jail we're still pretty good with. Oh, someone's on fire. Someone is on fire. Drugstore 2.0. Excellent. Alright, there's our fire truck going in there. We're good. Alright, services. So yeah, garbage, 61% still fine. Education, we'll have to build up a little more. Happiness, pretty darn happy, that's good. Health. Awesome. So now, because Salts McNugget Farms is sort of on its own over here, we do have to realize that the services, such as fire, police, and so forth over here, likely aren't going to be reaching out here. So let's build a couple more services out here. You know what, let's get a medical clinic, just in case. Something small. It's a nice little medical clinic. Let's also get ourselves a little park area too, in case people want to relax by the farms. Make sure that makes everyone happy. Yep, that's going to build up happiness over time. Heck, throw a second one in there too, why not? So we got, and let's also build a fire hall. Whoops, that's disaster response. Fire hall. The farms are high risk as well, just like the forested areas, because as you can imagine, wheat and such
that a sinkhole
burns.
could strike at any minute. Residents should take precautionary measures.
Okay, so let's see here. So a sinkhole with size 3.0 is about to happen. Unfortunately, we do not have the necessary disaster warning services. So like a geological cistern or a satellite if it's like a meteorological balloons and all that sort of stuff. So it can't tell us where it's going to happen, but let's click this here. Activates all shelters into evacuation mode. People will be evacuating. Let's just watch this as people are now starting to fill in here. Oh, right in the middle. Crap.
A sinkhole has occurred somewhere in the city. Stay out of harm's way and
Okay.
contact authorities with any information.
Let's release citizens. Alright, so that wasn't actually too bad. We didn't lose a whole lot of people. Let's actually watch as this goes into play here, our disaster response unit. Because now that everything has been demolished with those little symbols here, let's see here. So in theory, the disaster response unit here should start responding to the disaster over here. They'll be able to respond to fixing the roads and everything, but for some reason it does not seem like they want to. I'm not sure why. Because no vehicles are in use. Oh, sorry, reading the description, it's only the buildings that they are going to look after. And if you can tell here, there were no buildings hit by it. So all we're going to do is just go in and repair the roads. There we go. Let's repair these roads. let's repair all that. There we go. And let's actually rebuild this area too. So the nice thing is that we do have, as you probably saw in the last island-based one, we do have access to various terrain tools. And so I'm going to try and flatten it back up to what it was, just so we can have our citizens move back in here. There we go. That's great. Just make this. There we go. There we go. I'm not sure why that's not accessing there. Let's see. Let's try and flatten that as best as possible. That looks pretty good. There we go. So now let's see if we can build back in there. Is it letting us? Yes, it is. Alright, there we go. Disaster averted. We are good. So everyone seems to be doing fine here. Now, because that happened and we sort of thought about it, let's see if we have... Okay, we don't actually have anything yet here, but like earthquake sensor, for example, would help with earthquakes. Tsunami warning. Oh, we know about that. Weather radars, deep space radar. So all of that can be built to give us more advanced warnings and tell us where things are going to hit. Thankfully, that was a pretty small one, so we're okay. But there we go. So everything else is alright so far. So where were we? Ah, yes. So Saltman Nugget Farms. So these guys here are all just... There we go. Those guys there are all like that. So because the workers, or there were signs back in the farm saying the workers are needed, let's get rid of some more of these here so that way the workers from these plants move over to the farms. That'll ensure that we are getting a bit more bang for our buck in terms of environmental consciousness. Okay, good. So we'll see how that works out for everyone here. Luckily with this kind of specialized, with these specialized industries, you don't need as many educated workers. It's all based on just more of the sheer number of workers. So thankfully, we can kind of release people from their other jobs here and move them over to the farms. Here we go. Perfect. Everyone's happy. People are still moving in. Let's see. Once we reach, I believe it is, 8,000 people, we can get the high density buildings. So that'll help us with populating some more. But for now, I think we're good. I'll speed up just a little bit there so everyone can kind of move over. Let's see. So I think our next big step will be to work on some transit. Because right now, traffic actually isn't too bad. We can see that there's a couple of hot spots. Nah, maybe we'll wait on this actually. Once there's a few more hot spots of traffic, we can start looking at getting some bus routes in there, taxi routes, all that good stuff. Until then, I think we're okay. So you guys are good out here. Let's make sure, I just want to make sure that all the services were hit out here that need it. Ah, electricity, we need that. So, just to give a bit more background here on what I've already done, I've already built out an area that will have like our coal plants, just because that gives a real good amount of electricity at the beginning. I know it's not the best in terms of environmental efficiency, but I mean they give you 40 megawatts, which is a fantastic amount of electricity at the beginning for their cost. And of course, as we get further into the game, we can convert that over to more green electricities, like this here, our wind turbines. But for now, I think the idea will be to just of industry we have that's polluting and convert it over to our green industries. Speaking of which, let's actually fill in the rest here with industry. There we go. That should be good. I'll also get rid of these wires because really we don't need them, because now it is connected via that side portion. And honestly, those wires take up a good chunk of land. That makes it difficult to build around, so pretty good we're doing that. That's good here. We're all still good here. Let's build some more homes. You know what, let's just complete our circle here, or our square here. Get it up this way. Oh crap. By one too many. There we go. That completes everything nicely. Get a road here. Get a road there. And that carves everything out here pretty nicely for us. We'll get you. Let's get a couple of shops. Alright. Our city is coming along quite nicely. So let's maybe hold off on building any more major infrastructure projects for just a little bit. Because we did start the game with about $500,000 and we're already down to $160,000. Now, thankfully we've got a good bit of money coming in the door each week, like $2,000, which isn't bad. But obviously we want to be conscious that money is a factor in this game, as I have completely forgotten every other game that I've played. So not a bad idea to make sure that we're conscious of that. Let's just parse out this here. See, I say let's do no infrastructure and then go and put water pipes in. I'm very back and forth with that. There we go. What do people need? What do people need? Oh, there's a dead person at the pharmacy. Somehow that's actually kind of realistic. Oof. Alright, death care. Where do we want our cemetery? Let's put our cemetery up here. That's a nice spot for it. Does it cover everything? Yes, it does. Okay, people should be happy now that people can move into the cemetery. Oh, you're like really upset. Oh, you are really upset that there's a dead person in there. Excellent. Okay, well, I think this is probably a good point for stopping now that we've got a decently sized city going here with our citizen base. And we've also got our next little bit of industry building up over here, way out of the way, so thankfully if something hits, it's probably not going to affect both the city and our industry. Yeah, but we're in a good stopping point. Next episode, I think we'll probably want to keep building up more of our residences, as well as converting everything over to green industry. And we'll also look at getting some bus routes in and other public transit, because that'll obviously help us going forward for all of our transport needs. So on that note, thank you so very much for watching, everyone. If you did like what you saw in this episode today, please feel free to hit the like button below and leave a comment if you would like. I always appreciate that. And if you would like to stay up to date with all of my future videos, please feel free to hit the subscribe option and don't forget to turn on the bell notification so that way you're alerted when my videos go up. And until next time, as always, it's been a pleasure.